The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Hot, bold, sweet, smooth, and always flavorful. Welcome to my morning coffee. 3 generations of successful women, brewed with black girl magic, and French press with class, sass, and style. Gia, Tanya, and Sarita are my morning coffee.
Monday. Welcome back to another edition of My Morning Coffee with Tanya,
Rita, and me, Gia. Before we get started today on our show, we want to take a 24-second moment of silence for Kobe and Gigi Bryant and the 7 other victims in the tragedy that happened yesterday. All right, we're back.
So why don't we start off with a moment of reflection from each of us, really quick on the news of Kobe and how it personally affected you, if you don't mind sharing.
I think everybody, at least for me, I will always remember where I was the day I found out that Kobe was in the accident and Gigi. I am devastated, as I think many people share the sentiment. And being a unicorn, which is someone who was born and raised in L.A., Kobe put us on his back. I mean, you know, the house that he and Shaq built at the Staples Center, like, I think so many I've been watching basketball since I was 3-4 years old. And I am able to have both the Jordan era and the Kobe era, now the LeBron era. And so to be able to see those 3 men, but in particular Kobe, play with such passion is awe-inspiring. Just the fact that he loved the game, he loved his family, he loved, and his work ethic was stupid. It was just nuts. So I think Kobe in many ways taught me how to be a competitor and how to be a winner. And that's something that I'm going to take with me. You know, as a clinician, I just hope that people have rallied around Vanessa. They have a 6-month-old, and that's the part that I believe is the hardest to wrap my mind around, especially in terms of the legacy. And I don't know. It just, there's a whole lot going on in my mind right now. So,
Gia, your thoughts?
I'm pretty much with Sarita. Devastation. I was actually on the couch when things started popping up, and he had made a noise, and I was like, you know, what's wrong? You know, and then he started to tell me, and I was like, you know, my first thought was like, no, this couldn't be. And I'm still pretty numb. I feel like it's a dream. Even this morning, waking up, I still was like, this can't be. I had trouble sleeping, and it's like Sarita said, I'm born and raised Los Angeles. I've been a Laker fan all my life. I'm still a Laker fan. I was a huge Kobe fan. It's almost like Kobe was a little brother. We watched him come here as an 18-year-old kid, and he grew up with us, and he taught us a lot. He taught us good work ethics. He was a guy he gave us all to everything, and we saw that. And he motivated me to give my all, even when I think I can't do something or something's not going right, still to push forward. So he was a teacher, and I'm gonna miss that. My prayers go out to everybody involved because it's really sad, and it's just hard for me to really comprehend that this actually happened. And prayers go out to them. Prayers go out to all the families. Vanessa, now she has to move forward without her husband, without one of her her kids. That's hard in and of itself, and even his parents. My heart goes out to Kobe's parents, his sisters and stuff, because they also lost a son and a brother, and, we lost an icon. And, he will forever be, in my heart. He's going to forever be, Laker. Los Angeles will always be his town, no matter who the Lakers get. LA will always be, and you heard it here, will always be Kobe's town. And
so territorial.
Yes,
right?
Yes, very territorial. I'm feeling some kind of way about the team right now, but I'm just saying, I'm late. I'm for Kobe. Always will be all day, every day. Do 365, whatever, 24/7. I ride. If I have to
and
start.
She carries a gun.
Yeah. So, yes, I don't want to hear nothing negative about Kobe. Okay, y'all got that? Nothing negative, okay? Because don't let me start on some of y'all.
Okay.
But, yeah, so, yeah.
So for me, unfortunately, I deal with death more often than most. I come from a pretty large family, so, it's become a thing. And I try to look at it in a different way. And the initial gut check was devastating, like killed over, stomach hurting. But when you take a step back, you have memories. And I hope that most people these days are taking the time to make memories that count and lasting memories with the people that they love. When I lost my mom, one of the things that I've always leaned on is the fact that we had nothing unresolved. We've had our conversations, anything that we needed to apologize for or talk through, it was done. So when that takes place, you have no regrets.
Right.
And I was looking at an interview of Kobe's, and he was just talking about, live life to the fullest. There's no reason to be upset. There's no reason to have any regrets if you're living your life to the fullest. And the more I look at the posts and all the different images and tributes, he's always with his family.
Yes.
He is always smiling. He is always gleeful. And what I know for sure is looking at a lot of the pictures is that his family was intact and they were solid and he had no regrets. And his wife was there with him in every moment. So I worry, like many of you guys, we keep her in prayer and we keep her lifted up, but it does take an amazing matriarch to be able to hold a family together like that and keep kids happy like that and feeling safe and always feeling like they're loved and like they are a priority. So as hard as this is going to be, I have this sinking feeling that she's going to do okay because she's been able to hold this together for so long when this could have collapsed long ago.
Yes.
She's was able to hold it together and keep those smiles on their faces and keep them moving forward. So as tough as grief is, when you have no regrets and you live life out loud and you have those amazing memories, I started following her simply because the images on all of her social media are joyful. Ain't no hating posts. There's no, when they get mad at each other, which I'm sure all couples do, it's lived out on social media or in the media. The way that they handle things has actually built a structure for her to be able to move forward in the legacy of Kobe and bring those girls up, knowing that they had a father that made sacrifices for them. They don't have to have that I wonder if moment because it's all right there for us to see.
Yeah.
So I try to take those, take incidents and situations like this as a lesson to make sure that we are creating memories with the people that we love and that they know how we feel at all times. So I actually, after the initial gut check, I start to enjoy that because those are all things that add to his legacy. And the off-court work, absolutely phenomenal. So, I went to Northridge, and we have a lot of friends that love the Lakers. I'm a Bay Area girl, so we argue a lot. But I did get to have some of my first Laker experiences with my friend Chris Aldridge and his brother Eric Aldridge, who actually helped recruit Kobe. So I had to remind him the other day, like, my first Kobe experience was at the Forum Club with them. I mean, I wasn't too happy to see him because
because you're from the Bay Area.
Whatever, a little snotty nose, 18-year-old. But I say that to say that was my first reaction to him. Recently, I was looking at my phone, and I remember I had a post. I didn't even post it, but I had pictures. I was at a AAU basketball game with my kids. And any parent that does travel basketball knows it takes all of you. It takes your whole day, your whole life sometimes. So we're there.
because I call you sometimes.
And I'm there, right. Yeah. So we're at the gym all day. I might even fell asleep or something. And my son woke me up and he was like, "Hey, Mom, Kobe's over there." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I look up and he's doing the same thing I'm doing. I'm here to support my child. He wasn't even coaching that game. He was just there as a parent to support his child. And that level of humanity is something that you can never forget. It's something you learn to appreciate, that no matter how big our heroes are, there's still a level of humanity that unites us all. So I actually appreciate that. I didn't get in his space. I just watched him cheer for his daughter. That in itself is amazing. Like, that father-daughter thing is, man,
well,
it's priceless.
You said a key thing, memories. So speaking of memories, we're going to talk about some of the memories where we just made this past week or so. Sarita and I were in D.C. Oh, yes. And you were here in Los Angeles making memories and stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we were up to since the last show.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it was Zeta's 100th year. So we were celebrating bi-coastal, East Coast and West Coast.
Yes,
so Sarita and I were on the campus of Howard. It was awesome. Awesome. I
saw pictures.
Yes.
It looked like there was a million people out there.
It was a million people. It was cold. But you know what?
Yeah.
Being in Howard, actually, for me, that made the trip.
Okay.
It's being there on the yard, and the fact that it was some Omega Kappa Zetas on the yard too.
Yeah.
That was it just touched me so much because it was all people that maybe I had something to do with their process.
Maybe
somewhere along the line and stuff. So,
maybe.
Maybe. So it just felt good to be there along with other sorors from other states and stuff. But it was just it was good. Sarita and I got a chance to bond a little bit. Being away from you, but we missed you. We wish you were there, but you weren't. You were here holding it down. And I kind of got a little jelly when I saw the stuff happening.
I agree.
On the West Coast, because
the West Coast
after it was like I was good until I started seeing all the posts, and I was like, yeah, there's such and such, there's Tanya, there's this, there's Ryan, there's I'm like, and I'm like, and I kind of wish that
I was here,
and stuff. But you guys look like you had a really good time.
We did. What was the experience like for you being in DC, and are you going back in June?
Okay, I feel like that's how I feel about questions of planning. I will say that I am one step closer to going back in June.
Okay.
Not going to say I'm not going to commit to going in June. It was fun though. I actually went for work and it just fell in line that everything was going on. It was cold. DC is cold.
Yes, it is.
But I held it down like a G. I had on thermals the whole time. I wasn't going to let it beat me. But it was really nice to see everyone there. I'm sorry. This is going to be a really crazy show for me, just trying to keep it together. So I probably won't be as coherent. I don't know if I'm ever usually coherent, but today is really difficult for me to be. And even to think about what I did last weekend.
But you did come home from D.C. and I saw you.
Yeah, that's true. That was amazing. The fact that, thank you for the lob. The fact that Tanya and I don't know, we also need to take a moment to really celebrate this one in the middle, because she, first and foremostly, is just dope in general, but what you created for Redondo Beach, their MLK celebration, was absolutely phenomenal and fantastic. And I don't believe that I always give you your flowers. And to see so many people come out and to see what you organize and to see how people love you in the community. I guess I take it for granted because I'm always getting bullied by you. But to see the sense that the people that she doesn't bully, like how much they love you.
Who said I don't?
Maybe because she doesn't bully them. Maybe that's why they love her so.
But maybe she does bully them, and they're also just they're afraid too. But the unveiling of the MLK bench and the speeches was just phenomenal, and so I'm so proud of you. And to see Ray being Mr. Tanya McKenzie was also quite amazing as well.
Wow, did you get any video of that?
Maybe. Okay, I'll have to check.
Yeah, I'll have to video. Yeah, please share.
I have to roll that on back. But because Kevin and I got the opportunity while the program was going on to stand with Ray, and the amount of joy that was on his face, and people coming up to him, it's like, oh, because there's only a handful of chocolate chips in the batter,
right?
Already, and so it's like you must be with somebody. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm Tanya's husband, and it was like he was a celebrity. Oh, you're Tanya's husband, Tanya McKenzie. Oh, and he was like, yeah, and just to see the pride on his face was really.
So she's like a celebrity in Redondo Beach. So we could go to Redondo Beach and kind of cut up, and then drop her name.
Oh, we've already made plans, Ray and I. She's gonna get like a card. We're gonna laminate it, and it's gonna say Mr. Tanya McKenzie. And when we're out and about, we're just gonna flash it.
Oh, okay.
That's how it's gonna happen.
I'm done with you.
I'm just letting you know. Well, get ready.
I'm done with you guys.
Well, I'm gonna get a card too, and I'm gonna say mine's gonna say Tanya McKenzie's big sister.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So. I was going to have her name on there so I can put up in her city.
With an asterisk that says carry a gun?
And that too.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't want to even bring that into the play because I might really cut up. So we don't want that.
We actually love our law enforcement out in Redondo. So, bring yourself. We'll definitely celebrate you too.
Okay. Do you guys have coins? Like challenge coins?
I have a challenge coin.
Oh, yeah. I would like one from Redondo.
I love... okay. Yeah. So, Captain John Naylor, I'm going to need another challenge coin.
Yeah, Captain, I need a coin, okay?
LA County
Sheriff,
here.
Yeah, I need a coin.
Oh. We'll talk about that today. Yeah. I should be seeing you later. So, with that...
congratulations.
Thank you. But let me get into this really quick. Our state event was amazing, like you said. I am sad that you guys weren't there because we definitely could have cut up together. But our guest that's going to be coming up... He was actually there also, and he can tell you about that. We enjoyed it, had a good time. Not sure if you guys all know, but Rona from In Vogue is a member of the Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. In Vogue performed all of those.
And that looked dope.
Yeah, some of those clips are on my social, so Instagram and Facebook. But they did amazing. Yeah. I felt like I was back in the 90s.
Oh, Lord.
There's older artists that you can't always, they don't look the same. Girl, I was having a girl crush moment. She's amazing.
Head to toe.
Terry Ellis.
Head to toe.
They haven't lost a beat.
Yeah.
Their voices are still amazing.
Yeah.
Their body is banging. Like they are, In Vogue is life goals. And Rona, we love her. So hopefully we'll be having her. So In Vogue is
kind of like us, huh?
Yeah.
We're still banging all those years, huh?
I love it. So hopefully Rona will get on the show soon because she's doing a few things. And I can't wait to talk to her about it. So I don't want to give that away. But I do want to thank Captain John Naylor and Dr. Goody Goodlow and our Chief Kaufman. They helped usher in a new era in Redondo Beach, an era of inclusivity, an era of transparency between the community and the police department. And it was just amazing. It was an amazing event. So if you get a chance, go on out to Redondo Beach Civic Center Plaza right in front of the police station and take a picture right in front on our beautiful new bench. And
she was on the news.
Yeah, I saw her on the news. I said, "There's my girl."
At least she's not getting arrested. All right.
Yeah.
So,
and she's making full sentences. You know, in the background.
The well-spoken ones.
Yes.
Had the opportunity to be well-spoken on camera. Appreciated that. But more so, it was the fact that there was a diverse crowd of people that came out. It wasn't one or the other. No. It was the whole community, which shows a support for unity and all the stuff that should be included in a city looking to grow and unite and welcome
and thrive
and welcome any and everybody. So definite shouts out to them. Thank them so much for that. And I
think we should do a photo shoot on the bench.
I think we should.
My morning coffee photo shoot on the MLK bench in Redondo Beach.
I think so.
Can you set that up for us, please?
I will.
Can you call your people?
I can call your people.
Right. Can you call in?
Right. Other people are coming to your city.
And lunch included. Sounds like a plan.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was great. But my mayor, Bill Brand, what did you think of his speech? The 2 steps forward, one step back?
Yeah.
I had to let him know.
Yeah. He did that. And yeah, it was a really good speech.
So he actually put it on his social, the entire transcript of the speech. So if you get a chance, Mayor Bill Brand has his speech from that day on his social media platform, and it was amazing. I didn't expect that from him. Janice Hahn, thank you and her office for coming out. That was amazing.
And she has a rich legacy of being in LA and her
stories with her father and Martin Luther King and just the history in Los Angeles County is
she's definitely carrying the legacy of Kenneth.
Well, January is bomb month, I must say. It is.
Yes. So what we're going to do is come back with our special guest, and many of you may know him.
Yes, y'all will know him.
But I don't know if you know this him.
That's true. This is the
new. He's just evolved.
Okay. The evolved
new. Okay.
Yes. Because the other one still lives.
Yes.
Still lives within.
Okay. Because he's such an authentic person, I don't think some of those things can change. So we'll be able to get all in his business in a minute. So we'll see you guys when we get back. All right. Thank you for coming back. As you see, we have this amazing guest here today. I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Sherman Mitchell.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, Sherman.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
So I just want you to start off by letting the people know, when did your name change?
My name has always remained the same. I just added a title to it.
Yes.
I actually finished my doctorate in psychology. It's been a year now.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's
Since
been a year.
Missed your party?
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
and it's already started.
Yeah,
it already started.
Did we say, other than him being a doctor, he's also a member of...
We're about to get to
Oh, okay.
We're about to get to that. Okay. Yeah.
She's doing the intro.
Yeah, so my area of focus is psychology, and I took a special interest in...
That's great.
Organizational
Sorry, he's trying to be real
organizational management and consulting.
He's like, I will not let you.
It is. I'm grown now.
He said, I'm grown now. So Sherman is actually one of the first members of Phi Beta Sigma that I met at California State University, Northridge. And I want to give him the opportunity to talk about what his undergraduate experience was like, why Phi Beta Sigma, and what it was like to have sorors on campus, because not everybody has that awesome opportunity.
Ooh,
So I
burn.
no, absolutely, right? And the true brother and sister organization, I actually can say that I came into Northridge in 1994. I was interested in joining an organization, but I had no idea about fraternities. I grew up in Compton, California, born and raised, 72 first cousins, 12 aunties and uncles. So I knew about what brotherhood looked like. I just had no brothers of my own. Yeah. So I got into Northridge. I believe I attended my first party. And from there on, I said I was going to pledge an organization.
It was the parties that did it. Okay.
Yeah. But I had no idea which organization I would be a part of. And so I went to the night that they call Umoja, right? And so it's, all the Greek Black fraternities and sororities. You sign up. They talk about the organization. And the one thing that attracted me to Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated is that I had multiple opportunities to do other things. Thought I might do something else. But they weren't pressed to meet me. They waited 2-3 weeks. I saw someone in my biology class, Troy Strange, was the first person that I met with letters. He called me 2 weeks ago, said they would be on the yard on a Wednesday. I showed up on Wednesday. I met probably about 10 Sigma men, all reflecting different areas of their own lives. Some people were militant. Some were in the BSU. Some were from LA. I'm not going to call them a gangster, but there was so many variety of men that actually I met on that day. Yeah. It impressed me so much because it really wasn't about, what they look like. It wasn't about, what they could do for you or whatever it was. They were themselves. And so I wound up joining the organization 2 weeks after. And been a member spring 94, 5/10/94, 12/19/03 a.m. So that was an experience.
Your memory's amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. And I would say for the sister organization, Zeta Phi Beta, first of all, I want to congratulate you guys on achieving 100 years of excellence and finding womanhood. I would actually say that I wouldn't be who I am without the brothers and sisters of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I learned to know about, Zeta Phi Beta, of course, through Phi Beta Sigma. And we ran the yard at Northridge. There were no questions about our unity. There was no questions about our brotherhood and our sisterhood. We traveled together. We fought together. We stepped together. And we did business together. Yes, we did. We would party at night and then wake up Saturday morning for community services. People always kind of say I traveled along, up north and things like that. And people would always be like, Sherman, are you in school? I said, look, but I can say that in my experience and just being in a part of the organization, the first initial attraction was the parties, but I received humanitarian awards for doing community service work. I was one of the keynote speakers when Northridge had its earthquake in 1994 as a student representative. When they reopened the Oviatt Library. So, I think the parties initially attracted me to it, but you realize that the organization is so much more.
Than just parties,
and they told us that, the real work starts once you get in. Yeah. And I think, that was my experience.
So one of my first experiences with Sherman, and I always praise him for this, it wasn't my first, but it was most dynamic, is when Sherman became a father. Ooh. And since we were on Kobe, I like to reflect back on Black fatherhood. He was one of the first single Black fathers I ever met in my entire life. So, kudos to you. I was able to witness with my own eyes times when he made sacrifices to make sure that his daughter had. Yes. So what in the work that you're doing now, how are you taking that experience and working with the community that you currently work with and that you've actually been working with for a long time?
Yeah, it's been about 26 years that I dedicated my life to working with at-risk young people, right? And I think just being a single father, I I actually, first of all, I believe in it takes a village to raise a child. It was my mom who stepped in when I wanted to do my community services or my partying. But but it was also sometimes my sorority sister who watched my daughter, you know what I mean, during the day or whatever it was. We would travel up north to see my daughter. I mean, not up north, I'm sorry, to Long Beach Hospital when she was, the firstborn, before she was able to take home every night after step practice. So I do what it's like to require sacrifice. I believe that I joined the organization because I wanted to give back to to the young men and women in my life who I feel like needed opportunities. So growing up in Compton, there were very few role models, right? We had our families, we had people that we could rely on. But I think the organization provided me a tool and a foundational starting point for being able to, give back to young people and see people like me that were well balanced. Right? I was a little tough.
Well, I like that, well balanced.
Yeah, a little rough around the edges, but my heart was always in the right place. But I also had a desire to be someone better than I was. And so 26 years in.
Where did that come from? You say you always had a desire, because I think a lot of kids in the inner city, they get stereotyped because they grew up in the inner city, and people that don't live, they're not from here, they think the inner city is so bad, and these kids are seeing all kind of bad things all the time, which they are seeing some things are bad. But what was it in you that gave you that desire to want better? Because I think that's what all of us need, whatever community we're in, desire to get out of that community. And so many of us don't have that, and we kind of have a cycle of the same thing, So what was it for you?
You know what? That's a good question, right? I don't know if I should be looking at you guys or
whatever works.
Yeah, that's a good question. I believe that in my experience, right? And then I wasn't necessarily a Kobe fan, but I respect his ethic. And he did actually interview probably a little while ago, and he talked about, one of the biggest fears, and I think we all kind of relate to this. One of their biggest fears is ourselves, right? If we don't challenge ourselves to give ourselves an opportunity to fail, then we'll always be who we are. So growing up in Compton, I didn't see that. I didn't see people, doing always the right thing. And guidance counselor told me that I shouldn't go to school. I should do like vocational training. And I'm like, okay, GPA was okay. I was playing sports. And so I think for me, having someone tell me what I could not do and what I should not do, it actually motivated me. I don't drink to this day because somebody told me I should. I'm a little bit stubborn, right?
That's
and
good,
so for me, it was just it was about just self-development. And I don't think every young person has an opportunity to see that, because you don't have like a positive role model in your life, like that's there. You can't find that in somebody else, like a football coach. Or your teachers. And so I was able at a young age to identify, men that I wanted to emulate. And so, they don't get that. And I think us letting them know that it's okay that you don't have that in your home sometimes. That you could get that from other places.
And it's also, I think it's something within you, You don't always have to do everything that you see. That you see others doing, And that's why I think with the youth, that's what happens with them. They see other people doing it, so that's why they do it. And you kind of went the opposite. Somebody told you to drink, and you said, no, I'm not going to drink, so.
Yeah. We normalize behaviors. I think working in mental health, and I know you could attest to that. And we normalize some of the behaviors. One of the things, and I know we'll talk about the book, but we talk about our limbic brain, and it kind of shapes our perception of how things are and how we perceive things and the choices that we make, right? And so if you're growing up in the inner city, you often are not given privy to some of those other opportunities to change your experience, right? And so, I had the desire to do something, and my goal in life is to always be able to tell young men and women that you not be the best version of yourselves,
right? I always think role models come on the positive and the negative side. You have these people in your life, whether they're relatives or neighbors, and there are people that you say, I want to be like this. I want to have what she has. I want to have the freedom that she has. I want to be able to make the choices. I want to make good choices like this person. But you also have them cousins and uncles and friends or your mom friends where you looking at them and that's exactly what I don't want to happen in my life. That's exactly what I don't want to look like. That's exactly what I don't want to happen to me. And those people are just as much a model in your life as those other people that leave those positive remnants, because you have to know what the other side looks like. It's important to know. You can't just tell somebody, don't do this. Well, why not do that? Yep. I have people that I point to when I'm talking to my kids. I said, where is such and such? What are they able to do? Oh, wait, jail. Oh, yeah, because mama don't do jail. So, if your choice is A and B will lead you in that direction, you need to understand what those consequences look like. So role models come on both ends. I think it's just a matter of teaching decision making. And we kind of get lost in that. How do you make a positive decision that's going to affect you in a positive way instead of, I'm just going to choose this and be able to deal with whatever the consequences are? Because you can say that all the time. I hear that, if something goes wrong, you're supposed to make mistakes. That's how you learn. Yeah, but some mistakes...
Consequences and repercussions, right?
Yes.
That's a thing. It's a thing. It is. How do you teach that to these kids that, may not really understand? Because we also live in a society where people are like, oh, it just happens because you're black. They just do you like that because you're from this background. They just think your mama ain't got no money, so they treat you like that. We do have that, so we can't act like that's not a voice that we don't hear on a regular basis. So how do you teach them that their actions, how to make good choices, even when you have those voices outside of them telling them no matter what choice you make, you're not going to win.
And I just to piggyback on this, I feel like you've been teaching this for quite some time. So help the people understand the similarities. And even the name behind consequences and repercussions, like being able to hold that at such a young age in development in your life.
It sounds like
you got something on your mind.
No.
Is that something that he kind of maybe instilled in you in some kind of way?
Have you had some experience?
It feels very, very part of my existence, especially as my existence being a Zeta. So I just want to appreciate you and thank you, because I heard and learned about consequences and repercussions very early.
Right.
Well, like a level of PTSD there.
I'm interested in hearing just
you had a little twitch.
How it came about, because it's been being taught for quite some time.
I think we've all learned that, with consequences, with some of our decisions, right, there's going to be either a good consequence like you're talking about, and there also might be the consequence that may lead you to like being locked up, right, or maybe a death or whatever it is. And so we know that, right? I would say for me, one of the things that I instill in young people, and I'll just make it to the present day, is I kind of remind them to man up, right? When we're young, we talk a lot about, when you were a kid and you were a child, you were told to man up when there were situations where young people were, let's say, bullied, hey, man up, stop crying. Men don't cry, boys don't cry, right?
Right.
And so I actually kind of akin my work to the acronym Man Up, because one of the things I want to teach young men is being able to manage your emotions in a most appropriate way will lead you to making better decisions, right? When you're talking about the A in Man Up, it talks about, anger, making sure that you understand that anger is not, it's a secondary emotion, right? It's one of those things that, when you're growing up and you have consequences and you decide that you're going to, instead of talk about how you feel about a situation, you're going to
act out. Yeah.
Right? Act out, right? And then the end in that, it talks about just your narrative, so it's being able to not just say, hey, if you choose to do this, then you're going to wind up in jail. Like, you have an opportunity to change your narrative. We all grew up, some of us grew up in neighborhoods that did not allow us to have certain opportunities. And so, but it doesn't mean that that's who you are, right? You can still evolve, right?
Exactly.
And then too, just for the you is, just making certain that we understand for young people, it's, really just untwisting your thinking, changing your thoughts and your patterns about what things are supposed to be like, and
perception
being able
and reality.
Yes, yeah, right.
Which is very
all or
CBT,
nothing,
very cognitive behavioral.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the power is within us all. We have the power to actually change our our circumstances, and if we decide that that's something that we're going to do. So
I have a feeling that some of the stuff you're talking about might be in, I don't know, a book that you wrote.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, it's I have a new
In the
project.
upcoming book.
Yeah, an upcoming project.
And you heard it here first.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
But
let's
I
talk
do.
about the books that,
I hear we share a title now. Author.
Author, right? So today, here, I'm going to just pass this around.
Yay!
Yeah.
Are they signed?
I will sign it, right?
Wow.
I actually have a book that's been published. It's called Organizational Change is a Journey, and it looks at one leader's journey through change, its impact on understanding, and the practical steps for leading change efforts. So that's the book.
This is going to be
Who
really
is it helpful for?
You know what? It is helpful for business leaders. It's helpful for people that have had experienced change. I always talk a little bit about like Charles Darwin rather, and he talked about, it's not necessarily the strongest of the species that survive, nor is it the most intelligent. It's the one who's most adaptable to change, right? And so we've all experienced change. The book actually, the goal of it is to really help answer the question, what leaders should know about the employer's experience of change, right? We've all experienced change. We talk a little bit about in our research is that 68% of change efforts are either challenged or failed. And the reason for that is not just because people resist because they just don't like what you do. A lot of our experiences are shaped by our personal growth, is a previous manager and things like that. And so the book actually tackles two things. There's two views that I have about change. Leaders decide to make a change because they want to maybe improve the quality of the work that they do in their business, right? They make amiable risks to say that I am deciding to make this change because it's going to benefit the organization. The other part is that, when we talk about, change from an employer's perspective, they're looking at their past experience. They're looking at some of the ways that change really didn't
yield
work well for them
results.
or the same benefits, right? Yeah. And so the book actually addresses my personal journey through change because we talk a little bit about, like I said, the brain, right? And how it shapes and informs who we are. It also gives an opportunity to provide like a clear understanding of like organizational theories. So I actually tie in as an employer, as a person growing up in Compton, as a person who was an employee at one point, I tie those personal experiences and I allow like the reader to say, oh, this is maybe why I resist some of these things.
Applied science.
Exactly. The book also examines whether or not your change efforts will, be successful if you include the employee in that process, right? The book talks a little bit about cultural competencies as leaders, right? So as leaders, we talk about some of the main things that we need to be successful. I say communication is one of those things. Being emotionally intelligent is another thing. Being able to, understand well people are. So there are some things in that book that gives leaders like Jules. I talk a little bit about a case study that I did with a large governmental organization where I was able to introduce like a change process and kind of examine where they were.
What encouraged the book? What encouraged you to write a book about organizational change rather than something else?
Youth advocacy.
Right.
Something like
or your journey growing up in Compton or as a single, like why organizational change?
Because we've all experienced change. I talk a little bit about, when you say change, Bowen's family theory talks about who we are and like our families, right? So you can have an older brother or sister and the mom tells you, do what I say, not as I do. When you get in organizations, that's how change is implemented. The CEO says, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're doing it. They never talk to you about the why.
Yes.
They never talk to you about, some of the challenges you may be faced or the benefits. So that was the reason for deciding to do that, because I think we all should be working on our own self-development. That was the reason why I actually chose that particular topic, because I believe that, like I said, organizational change is a journey. And, we've all experienced change.
Yes. And you have a second book there.
So I also am a contributing author to People Practice, and it's an actual play on practical tactics for leaders in business. So we address a variety of organizational topics for people, leading change efforts, looking at diversity and change, enhancing your workplace diversity, marketing in the digital world, organizational process improvement. So there were a few authors here, several
Is there a
authors.
section about millennials in the workforce?
You know what? Let me see. The future of business. Might talk about that.
Okay.
So just wanted to do something a little bit different, you know.
I want to circle back on something we brought up, and it's been bugging me. And since you've been in this space, I want you to comment on it. Bullying. I think the word is overused. On some level, things happen at school or with kids.
Or at work.
Or at work. What?
Or on the podcast.
Well, no, not at work, because I agree with you, the word bullying, because sometime when you're in a supervisor, manager, and you have to talk with your employees, okay, because you need them to do a certain thing.
Yes.
And your tone could be direct.
Yes.
Okay. But the person on the receiving end,
And your eyebrows could go up.
Clearly from a supervisor perspective.
Yes,
they don't.
absolutely.
So that's one.
Yeah.
From an employment standpoint, but even with kids, because you deal with kids, right?
Yes.
Sometimes, he's bullying me. No, he's being a jerk, and you need to learn how to deal with people that are jerks. Like, at what point in the youth cycle do we actually educate these young people that sometimes this is just what you're going to encounter? Because it's not just going to be in school, it's going to be in jobs. We're raising young adults. We're not raising kids to stay kids. So certain things, the way that we're addressing it, I think we're allowing it to become more, we're giving it more power than it should. So at work, some of these people might have been taught, you're being bullied.
You're being bullied.
No,
Yeah.
when your mama tell you to do something, you're not being bullied. That's an authority figure. Yes. Or if someone is being a jerk to you, they're just being a jerk. You need to learn how to deal with jerks. And I wonder how much of that
rhetoric of
how much where's your thoughts on that? Because you deal with youth and you're writing a book for adults.
Yeah. So 2-part question and response. I would say,
and for the record, no bullying occurs on my morning coffee.
None. Sarita be lying. Right. I'm just a jerk.
Yeah, I heard that, right? So when we're talking about bullying,
y'all see
in the workplace, I think it is a fine line. I think there are times that organizations have decided to, take a stand on, and they group it into like harassment, right? And they take a stand because there were times where, employees, specifically minorities, were, not given those same opportunities, or maybe belittled, or not given this chance, whatever it was. So I would say in the workplace, it's a challenge. I would say as long as you're following your policies and procedures and you're addressing these things in a way that actually falls in line with whatever your core values are and your mission statement is and what it says written, the delivery is important. But I think sometimes we lose the message in the delivery.
But I think also, too, because we've been throwing that bully word around, and you are acting in the guidelines of your organization, of policies, but the person receiving it, because they might not know the policies the way as well as you do, and they'll say, "Oh, I feel she's bullying me."
Listen,
her tone was.
If I work for you, depending on the day, I could feel like you're bullying me. You are very assertive. You're aggressive. Your chest is always out and your shoulders are back. And I could feel like you are bullying me. So you tell me what to do. And I'm going to HR. Your shoulders are I'm about to be on disability because now I'm bullied and I
think people act on their emotions.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And then when you say that, it's funny because I've been a supervisor.
It's funny. He's like, because I've done that.
Actually, no, I've been a supervisor for more than 16, 17 years, right? And I started off and I am a big black man. I work out. I'm pretty nice under the jacket.
So your chest is always out.
It is. Yeah. It is. Just for the viewing pleasure, Okay. No, I'm playing. This is the morning show.
I cannot.
No. I say that to say one of the tactics that I use as a leader and a person who's been in charge of people is I am mindful of my tone.
Mindfulness is important.
Right? I'm mindful of my tone. And
Sherman, I've never known you to have a meek and humble demeanor. So if I am, listen, we're going to have this conversation. Let's be real. If I am a weak person and I have a low self-esteem, or I'm just so happy to have this job, but I have issues thinking I'm not going to do it right. Just about anything you say to me can make me feel like
nobody's never raised their voice at me.
But that's not my responsibility. Right. My responsibility is to not change your the way that you feel about yourself. My job is to develop you as an employer and an employee, right? And so, if you can't do the job, then we have opportunities for self-selecting out. You have opportunities where you could actually write employees up.
That sounded like a part of the policy and procedure.
You're right. But to see the thing is, I think even employers, they're so afraid that we're bullying. So as an employee, I go to my employer and say, "Oh, Miss Tanya is bullying me." Okay, the employer gets all up in uproar and afraid, oh, shoot,
we'll do
stuff.
an investigation.
Yeah, we'll do an investigation, all kinds of stuff.
But I also believe that...
No, but nobody says that, no, she's wasn't really bullying you. She was telling you, she was giving you a direct order to do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because the words that I used when I told you, I feel bullied, I didn't like her tone of voice. Well, really?
But I also believe that it is necessary to know effective communication. And I believe effective communication both on the side of the employee and the employer, because as a person who is a supervisor, I'm going to look at the person who's before me and say, what is the way to get the best product out of this person, the best results out of this person? And sometimes I may have to cater the way in which I deliver my information because I believe in their success. Now, if I'm not invested in their success or believe in it, then I can be reckless with my tongue. But if this is someone that I'm taking an investment into creating that personal development, then it's important for me to deliver information as best as I can so that they can be successful.
Well,
you're a bully.
Yeah.
It's a professional choice.
Yeah,
I think you hit it right on the nose.
Well, it is professional, but again, it's all about, to me, it's the person's emotion. Because if you're a straight, direct person, you're not lashing your tongue out on them. You're just being direct about it. I'm not going to coddle an employee. I'm not going to treat them like their mother. Hey, Johnny, come over here. Okay.
But that's patronizing. I think people can still be adults.
That's what these kids want. They want, it's like, I'm like, no.
You're talking about someone that supervises millennials.
Yeah, I'm supervising millennial, and I'm in a profession that's authority profession. Yeah. So I'm not gonna. I don't have time to be tapping it down.
But why not?
No, I don't. Not because I'm not. I don't have time to. Because when you're on the streets, the suspect ain't gonna tap it down to you. Okay, the woman at the house that you at that's upset because her house got burglarized, she ain't gonna tap it down to you. She gonna come at you up here
right now.
I'm not coming at them up there. But I'm just saying. I think people, like she said, they're using this word bullying, and I think they're acting off emotion because they never.
But they've been raised
a one way.
But he talked about controlling your emotions.
And just because I'm telling you to do something and I'm direct, that doesn't mean I'm bullying you.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. You're actually, you both are right.
That was safe.
No, I think there is.
Response.
As a leader in organizations, your role is more about compliance, and you need your employees to follow what the procedures are. But I also believe that there are opportunities where, you just point to the policy and there are no emotions set aside. I don't want anybody that works for me to always operate in the fear, flight, fight mode. Like, okay, my supervisor's coming. I know I messed up.
Yeah.
Most times, there's a study that talks about, people in the workplace that have the most injuries are the ones where you have people that actually are unsatisfied and they're operating like that, right? And so there are a lot more accidents. There are a lot more people calling off, So, I think sometimes as leaders in organizations, you do have to just, deliver it in a way that somebody receives it. And kids is opposite. I'm not. I know kids. Yeah, I know.
How did you raise your daughter?
I know we use the term bullying often, and I know it's overused.
Thank you. I just needed to hear that.
Oh, it is. Yes. Yeah. So we just have to be mindful. Every person's experience is a different experience, and like you said, if I want to yield a specific result from someone, then.
Yeah. I just think, like you said, it's overused, and I think in the workforce, people are bringing their emotions more in the workforce more than they need to in certain professions. Right. When you're in a profession of a nursing profession and medical profession, you should have some emotion and stuff. But when you're in certain professions, these people nowadays, you can blow at them the wrong way, and they
don't leave.
Right, or you can look at them and, she bullied me the way she looked at me,
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
But... Okay.
it's a tough call.
Are you still working with youth?
Yeah. I currently am a director of a 43-bed STRTP, which stands for short-term residential therapeutic program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I get youth out of the juvenile system.
Okay.
They stay with us and receive mental health services for approximately 6 months. And then our goal is for permanency is to get them back home. So
Very good.
still doing it.
What else are you doing?
Excellent.
What else are you doing? What else
that-
are you up to?
I think that I'm promoting this book. I'm hoping that, more people would, understand that the employee's experience,
We understand employee experiences.
What about your Phi Beta Sigma life? Are you active?
Oh yeah, I'm active.
What chapter?
Like I said, I been in pledged in 1994. I am currently the secretary of Phi Beta Sigma chapter, alumni chapter,
Okay.
largest chapter in the Western region. Currently have about 87 or so members.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been this elected secretary for 3 years.
Do you have any national office aspirations?
I do not.
What about on a regional level?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I said I just need a great 10 years of structured service.
Okay. Well, we are going to celebrate our beloved Gia. So glad you're here.
Oh.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Wow.
Happy
Okay.
birthday, dear Gia. Happy birthday
Oh
to
my goodness,
you.
you guys are
Happy
too
birthday.
good to me. Thank you. Oh my God, it has my name on it.
So phony baloney macaroni.
I guess I should blow the candles out.
Let's have it all.
Oh, yeah.
Yay!
Yay.
Thank you guys. This is so
Absolutely.
sweet.
So let everybody know where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you, if they want you to come speak or come teach or anything like that. What are your handles?
Yeah. So you could email me as Dr.
Put that on it. Put some respect on it.
S. Mitchell, MITCHELL, .consulting@gmail.com.
Okay.
So yeah.
Social media handles? Any you want to share?
You know what? I'm actually in the process of redeveloping my social media platform.
Oh, you need some
why.
rebrand.
make
You need
sure-
some
Right, to make sure that his
Rebrand.
chest and his shoulders
This is always out.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I tend
It's
to.
under construction.
It is. Thank you. I appreciate that. But
So I'll be speaking with you about your branding after this.
Yeah, I know
Yes,
you're an expert
absolutely.
in there. Yeah, in
Let's
that
talk
field.
about it. Miss Sarita?
Find me at Sarita B MFT. I always go through this on Instagram. It's under construction. Not really. I just don't post. And yeah, hit me up. I'm taking clients maybe for the next little while.
Maybe.
We'll see.
You traveling again?
Nothing. No time soon.
All right.
I need to sit it down.
All right. And
Oh,
you?
okay. Well, you guys can find me on Instagram, The Mahogany Box, and on Facebook at The Mahogany Box.
And you can find me at PR Biz Mom on Instagram, Twitter, and Sand and Shores for Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Keep in touch. We might have some cool stuff coming up. Oh, wait, we have a pop-up coming up. Yeah, you guys have to look on our page for that.
Yeah.
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 So we will
yeah,
be
we do
celebrating Black Beers and Wines soon.
In February.
So make sure you stay tuned.
We'll talk more about it.
We'll talk more about it.
As it gets closer.
Yeah. Follow us on our socials, though, so you don't miss anything. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for having me.